Man, thanks for having me on the show. It's awesome. I had so much fun on campus at Duke. Coach K had us ripping and running. I mean, I got to play with some great players: Shane Battier, Jason Williams, Mike Dunleavy, and the other guys. And we somehow got a championship our sophomore year, and that was a lot of fun. Man, so many. I mean, I think the mark of a really good coach is someone that the relationship lasts beyond the lines, right? Past the field, past the court. And I've had a great relationship with Coach K since I'm 17 years old. I talk to him, probably every other week or a couple times a month. And like one of the biggest lessons Coach K taught me very early when I got to campus at Duke was next play, right? And what does that mean? So like during a game, you may turn the ball over, let's say, and you're all down. You feel like, oh my God, I let my teammates down, let my coach down. And Coach K was like, well, listen, we know you made a mistake, but instead of using that energy to relive it and discourage yourself, use that energy to make a great play. Go get a rebound, go get a steal. Maybe you get a basket to uplift your team and uplift your teammates. And so how that translates into life is, maybe you lose a job that you really wanted, or maybe, you get divorced and or you lose a relationship or something like that, but you got to pick yourself back up and move forward. And I use that every day in my day-to-day life now. And I learned that when I was 17 years old from Coach K when I first got to campus. Oh man, if it fits, and that would be amazing. 20 years ago, that was the right choice for me, and they got to make the right choice for them. And I leave that decision up to them. They're doing a good job of getting a chance to catch a vibe with some of these coaches and start a relationship there. They're getting recruited by some of the best programs in the country. And I think one of the things that's important as a parent is to let them decide, because they're going to be the ones waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go work out. They're going to be the ones staying up real late to write that term paper. You want to make sure they're excited about what they're stepping into. So it's pretty cool being on this side of it though, as a dad now, going through the recruiting process and seeing how my kids are handling that landscape. So very proud of them, but we got some more work to do. One of the biggest adjustments is the talent level is so amazing at the NBA, because every team has a roster full of guys that were badasses in college, right? Every roster has a team full of guys that were studs in high school, right? And so you get to the NBA. I remember my first game. I'll never forget. I'm playing against Chris Webber, who's a Hall of Famer, right? Great, great player, power forward. And then he goes out the game, and I'm like, whoo, yes, a break, right? Then they bring in Keon Clark, and this guy is 6'11", jumps out the gym, dunking everything. I'm like, Corliss Williamson, he was a star in college. There was so much talent at the NBA level that I think that was the biggest adjustment. Like every moment that you're on the court, you're playing against somebody who was also a really good player, whether they're the starter or they're the backup. So the adjustment was the talent level was night and day. There's so many good players at the pro level, and then also the travel. I mean, listen, we're on the road. It seems like more than we're even at home. Like you'll have 2 games at home, 3 games on the road, 3 games at home, 2 games on the road. It was like I felt like I always had a bag packed. But to be honest, more than that, it was just an honor, man. I'm getting a chance to play against some of the best guys on the planet, Kobe Bryant's and Kevin Garnett's and Tim Duncan and Dirk Nowitzki and all these great players I got a chance to play against, and very grateful. I mean, just in a word, wow. I mean, he was six. Most high school players don't have that kind of imprint or that kind of impact on your team when they get drafted. This guy was ready to take on the whole NBA, not just Cleveland, right? He got to our team. He was right away our best player, terrific passer. I thought that was his best asset. His passing ability was like you'd run a play, make a move, and the ball was in your hand before you even knew he threw the ball. Like that's how good his vision was. And then he really could score whenever he wanted to, but he was so unselfish. We had to like force him to be more aggressive offensively because he was such a good passer, but he could really score the ball. And you look at what he's been able to do with his career. What a great ambassador for our game, ultimate champion, one of the best players to ever live. He's got the scoring title. He'll probably have the assist title soon. His name is going to be etched in every statistical category before he retires. But nah, just very impressed with how he handled himself his entire career, and he's still going. I mean, this guy's in such great shape. He's playing incredible minutes. He's scoring so many points, getting so many rebounds, leading his team to the playoffs every year. Does he play 1, 2, 3 more years? We'll see. Yeah, I mean, I think once we drafted Darren Williams, our whole dynamic of our team just took off. That was like the one piece that we were missing. We had AK-47, who was a stud, could do everything, score, rebound, assist, defend. Mamadou Kerr actually is more like a player of today's game. He could step back and hit the three from the center position, really good jump shooter. Obviously myself was in there. I'm rugged and rag, getting rebounds, scoring the ball, dunking on people, getting my team riled up. Then we had our leader, which was Jerry Sloan, our head coach, Hall of Fame coach, had a terrific career. Obviously, with John Stockton and Karl Malone, kind of paved the way for us to be there. And then we drafted Darren. He was like our quarterback, man. That was like the one piece that we were missing. We had guys like Kyle Korver and Ronnie Brewer and Paul Millsap and Matt Harpring and different guys. And I just thought our team was very good. We had a lot of guys that were unselfish, that moved the ball, played tough defense, were very aggressive. And the two guys that we couldn't seem to get past were Tim Duncan and his Spurs and Kobe and his Lakers. I remember one series is tied at 2-2. It's halftime. We're up by like 11. We're thinking, man, we win this game. We go back to Utah. We barely lost games in Utah because of the altitude. We play really well. Our fans are crazy. Awesome environment. Kobe only has he's like 6 for 21. He's having a tough game. He has like 12 or 13 points. He comes out and has a 32-point third quarter, and the series is over. Right? Then that's just the Lakers. Then you go against the Spurs, and obviously they got Tony Parker, who's one of the best point guards in the game. They got Tim Duncan, who's one of the best power forwards ever, maybe the best power forward ever. And their third best player, and Manu Ginobili, comes off the bench for them, doesn't even start. So it was like, it was unbelievable playing against that level of competition, those dynasties, trying to compete against them every year and get to the finals. But obviously, ultimately, we fell short. But those were two great teams. Oh, they were both great and so different. They were both terrific point guards. D. Will was more of a pass first point guard, loved to get the assist. He could also score one-on-one, but he was more of a pass first point guard. And D. Rose was just an assassin, man. He could score anytime he wanted to, jump over the 7-footers inside. Like, I think he is probably the most athletic point guard we've ever had in the NBA. I mean, literally 6'2", 6'3", fast like Allen Iverson, jump like Michael Jordan. Like, he was a rare combination of speed and athleticism, not just on the court, but in the air. He would do all these dipsy-doos, and he was spectacular. But they were two great point guards, but a very different style of play. Man, we were like rock stars, man. It was cool. Like, being in Chicago, Joakim Noah he's like a hippie superstar basketball player, like a throwback player. Think about like Bill Walton in the 70s playing in early 2000s. That was Joakim Noah. Luol Deng was like an Iron Man. We had Scalabrine, who was like probably like our 12th or 13th man on the team, but he was a great player. Taj Gibson really could start for most teams. He was that talented. Then we had Nate Robinson off the bench. He's like a football player. I think I call him the people's champ, but he's like 5'7", 5'8", and he's winning dunk contests. Like, we had a cast of characters, like you said, on that team, and had a lot of fun playing together. We thought we had a chance to really win a championship in Chicago. Unfortunately, D. Rose got hurt a couple years in a row and kind of stopped our thrust. But man, I played with some really good basketball players, man. Oh, they still give me a ribbon for that. Like, literally, like, it was. I'm obviously, as you guys can all tell, I'm bald headed. I've been bald for a long time, but there was this one moment where this barber tried to tell me that he could bring my hairline back. So I'm like, okay. So, I grew my hair a little bit. He put some spray on it, and it was so dark. I'm like, this looks like shoe polish on my hair. And it took me like a week to shampoo it out, man. I tried like 7, 8 times, couldn't get it out. But yeah, my teammates still laugh at me about that one. Yeah, true story, man. When I first got my contract from the Jazz, I bought this huge house in LA. It was like 18,000 square feet, huge monster house. And Prince had been there before. Obviously I didn't know. I bought the house. My realtor keeps hitting me up about a guy that wants to rent my house out because I played for the Utah Jazz, even though my house is in Bel Air. in LA. And so she was like, Lois, you can literally make really good money, right? Your house is just sitting there, nobody's even occupying it. I said, okay, I'm open-minded to it, right? So here comes Prince. He rents my house out. I got hurt that year, so I go to LA to go see a physical therapist. I'm calling Prince, like, hey, I'm gonna stop by the house. If you need something, let me know. Didn't hear from him. I go to the house, everything's changed. Like you go in the house, like at the time, my ex-wife had decorated the entire house with like all these earth tones, like creams and whatever. All that got put in the storage, and it's all purple and black everywhere. Hearts everywhere, pictures of himself everywhere. He turned my weight room into a nightclub, like disco ball, DJ booth, massage tables in one room, hair salon with the thing, the dryer the girls use in another room. I had never seen this in the house before. Like he revamped my entire crib. And to the point where I was about to sue him. Nobody really wants to sue Prince. Like, come on, it's Prince. But I couldn't get a hold of him. And then he finally calls me. He's on tour in Asia. And he's like, Booz, don't worry, man. I got you. Everything will look like I was never there when you get the house back. Don't worry, I got you. And let me just give you the abbreviated version. Prince rented my house out for a year at $95,000 a month. Took everything out the house, everything from the carpet to the forks, put it in storage, and he redecorated the entire house. Then took all his stuff out and put all my stuff back in the house before he moved out. Basketball wise, at the top, certainly at the top. I mean, you got the best athletes on the planet, competing for gold medals. And also as an athlete, there's very few times you get a chance to represent your country. And so for me, getting a chance to represent the United States of America, USA, was a huge honor. And obviously our team was loaded, man. It was fun to play with those guys. Got to get coached by my head coach, Coach K again. And for example, being in the Olympics, you get a chance to see some of the best athletes at what they do. I got to watch Michael Phelps be a dolphin in the pool. I got to watch Usain Bolt become the fastest man on the planet. It's pretty cool experience, man. Yeah, I love what they've done. I mean, Dame, been a huge fan of his for a long time. Him partnering up with Giannis Antetokounmpo up in Milwaukee is going to make them a contender right away. Milwaukee was remember, they already won a championship 2 or 3 years ago. So now they they move on from Drew Holiday. Now they got Dame Lillard. They're definitely, to me, the favorite in the Eastern Conference to get back to the finals. I think it's going to be terrific. I mean, that team is young. They're primed to make a run 2 or 3 times in a row. I don't know if they're going to make any other moves, but what they got coming back is terrific. Jamal Murray's an outstanding point guard, probably make the All-Star team this year. Jokic is still maybe the best player in the basketball on the planet with his skill set. So much fun to watch. Aaron Gordon can score, can defend, can do a little bit of everything, it seems like. Michael Porter. They got their whole starting 5 back, and they got a championship under their belt. They're definitely going to be a title contender again this year. I think so. I mean, CP3 adds a different element for them. He's a very good point guard, great assist player, does a good job of getting everybody in the right spots. My only concern with Golden State is that do they have enough size to contend with the Lakers, to contend with the Nuggets? But as far as their perimeter game, I like their perimeter players a lot. This is going to be a tall task getting past Milwaukee, but they're certainly capable. I mean, you look at their roster, they're complete. You got a championship point guard with Drew Holiday, as you mentioned. You got one of the top 5 players in the league in Jason Tatum. Brown just signed the biggest contract in league history. He's a stud. And like you said, Porzingis, even though he's a center, he shoots threes like a guard. And then you got Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis off the bench. Like, they're a very complete team. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. I think they can make a push, man. I think Rob Pelinka, the GM there, has done a great job of putting talent around. The kid Austin Reeves is a player. He's proven to be very good. Obviously, I think that Anthony Davis is the biggest key, right? How healthy is he? Because when he's healthy, he's one of the top 10 players on the planet. He can do everything: score inside, score outside, defend, block shots. He makes his free throws. And I think they've done a good job of surrounding LeBron with really good players. Hachimura is a very good power forward over there as well. So I think he has a run in them this year. I still feel like he wants to play with his son Bronny at some point. So we may still see him in the NBA after this year, but I think this year's team can make a run. Yeah. The hype is real. I mean, that kid's 7'4" and has perimeter skills that reminds us of Kevin Durant. Like, I've never seen a guy his size. Don't get me wrong, I played against Yao Ming, but he was a post-up guy. This guy has got handles. He can shoot the three off the dribble. He can catch and shoot. He's extremely athletic, does a great job of using his body. And one of the things that I'm excited to see in his development, right? He's with Greg Popovich, one of the best NBA coaches that we've ever had in our league. He's also had Tim Duncan and David Robinson. He's coached those guys like Kawhi. So I think he'll do a great job of introducing him into the NBA and bringing him along at the right pace so he can become a star in his own right. But his talent is unbelievable. I would say he's the leading favorite. I think Chet Holmgren, because he missed his real rookie year last year, Chet will have a chance in Oklahoma City. And the kid Scoop out there in Portland, he's got a shot too, but I would say Wemby is the favorite right now. Yeah, I would love to see Milwaukee versus Denver. I love to see the Jokic versus Greek Freak matchup that we haven't seen in the NBA final. I'd love to see Dame go up against Jamal Murray. And I'm going to be honest, I think Milwaukee comes out of that championship. I think it takes 7 games, and I think Milwaukee wins that championship series. I mean, it's crazy. You think about what the Miami Heat did last year. They got all the way to the finals with a lot of undrafted players and second-round picks. I think they could be a team that does something similar. I think, a team that we don't talk about, that we haven't really talked about, is Cleveland. I think Cleveland has a pretty solid team over there this year. Garland, Donovan Mitchell, they got size in the interior. They got some shooting around those guys. We don't talk that much about Cleveland since LeBron left, but they got some talent in the Cavaliers over there. I think it's a very close race between Jokic and the Greek Freak, but I'm going with Giannis. I think Giannis has a huge breakout year this year. I think Dame coming in takes some pressure off him, especially if Chris Middleton can be healthy this year. I think Giannis has one of those years that we go back and remember, like 2023, 2024 was a special year. I think Giannis wins MVP. I think he's first team All NBA. I think he wins a championship and becomes Finals MVP this year. You know who I think could end up getting it? Maybe a guy like Jordan Poole going to Washington. I think he'd be one of the top 5 guys scoring this year. I like the kid Halliburton in Indiana, very talented player. Yeah, I think Kessler has a chance to be most improved as well. I think defensively he's dynamic. He rebounds the ball very well. He's going to play a lot of minutes this season for the Utah Jazz next to Lauri Markkanen. I think Kessler that's my surprise pick for most improved.